Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Friday. It's February the 20th. This will be our chart lesson for today, and it's about just a couple minutes after 3. The market's probably got about 5 minutes before it closes, but I'm going to go ahead and do the chart lesson a little earlier than normal and get this out of the way, and I'm going to start my weekend. But fairly interesting day. I believe this channel is correct here, working lower. But we never got a retest of the low. It suddenly, and here's your clue. Notice how it's trying to go lower, and it suddenly makes a little tick lower and traps people, turns up, and shoots right through the EMA, pulls back, tests it, goes on higher. Um, I still like this second entry short up here. It's kind of like a little repeat pattern of this over here. Um, and it was good for an easy scalp, but man, it reversed, and next thing you know, we're just going higher, and this thing never looked back. And guess what? We finally got 2100 today. We just went right on through it this time. Came back and tested it, and then went higher. So we finally got that. But I'm going to back out here, talk about the trades quickly, and then I'm going to wrap it up today. Um, we didn't have any volume early, and then once it took off, it's just going. So kind of an interesting day. But the first trade I saw, we had this one leg down, big move down, and then we tried to go higher, and you get a little failed second entry long, counting off the low right there. It's a little double top. It's really a kind of a triple top, and you probably would have wanted to use a limit order if you went short below this bar. But if you waited on this one, you could have just used a stop, or you might have waited on it to break lower and drop a limit order in there. And you would have gotten filled. It backed up a little bit before it went lower. And then it bounced real quick. But with a big move down like that, you're probably going to get another leg. And if you measure this one, once it started heading down again, you want to look for something similar. And if you measure that and move it over there, you can see we came within maybe a tick of having a measured move before it corrected a little bit and then dropped lower and trapped people and then reversed. We really didn't have a break of this move up here. It depends on how you mark this one. This is probably your little mark higher and your break and your move to a new high. I went ahead and drug this same line over, and it still fits over here, but you don't really get a close outside of it here. I drew the line originally off the lows and just drug it up. So you're looking for something to happen right in that area. Um, anyway, and it is one leg up, a little correction, second leg up, and it's a little bitty bar. So it's kind of a low risk entry. You're not going to lose much if you're wrong. Um, and you're hoping you at least ride it back to the EMA. It ends up going much lower, but you get another chance to enter then. But this one's a little aggressive, so I marked it green. But you pulled down, you went back and tested the trend line again. You broke lower, and you came back and tested again. So it's similar to a failed second entry long. It's a double test of this trend line made off of these first two swings there. And so when it broke lower there, I like just going short. I mean, it was off to the races. And again, once it starts moving lower, look for that measured move, and that keeps you in at least until down in here. And at the very least, ride it till it touches the trend channel line and reverses, and then get out. And that gets you out within maybe a point and a half of the lows. And so nice ride down. And this was a nice ride. Any runners would have made you 4, 5, 6 points there. And then it tries to go longer, pull back first entry, pull back second entry. There's a second entry long there. It fails. It's also a little breakout pull back short. Quick, easy move again, but it doesn't go very far. So that's telling you something. It was tempting to go short right there, but I think you were better off to wait. And, there's a bunch of matching lows down here, and that little one tick failed tick lower. So there's even a reason to think about in a nice reversal bar. I probably should mark that in green because we've seen that trade a lot lately, and it just always seems to work. So I'm going to mark it in green, but I think it was a little aggressive. It's not as obvious because we don't have a break of the channel yet and a new low. So I think you're really taking a chance by going long there. But you've already had your two measured legs, and you've had a couple little pushes lower that just couldn't go very far, and so you know that they're trying to bite. And when it shoots right through the EMA there and pulls back and tests it, and then keeps going higher, um, you got to be, that's a first clue that hey, this thing might be getting ready to reverse. Um, and there is a second entry short here, and this looks like this. It's kind of a repeat pattern, and you're expecting prices to come back and try to retest the low, but at the same time, you're expecting prices to at least come back to the EMA. So I kind of like that for a short. I think it's good enough to be read. There's also a little double top here, and it's a little failed break higher. Um, if you put your line across there, you can kind of see the little double top across there. And so it's a little failed breaker higher. So there's several reasons to consider that short. Second entry short. Prices are probably going to pull back to the EMA. And for a minute there, you think, I thought we were going to tick higher and turn lower, but it just doesn't do it. It reverses. I don't think you can go long there yet. If for whatever reason you did, once it started going higher, measure that leg. Measure that leg up and look for a measured one. And you can see we about got that before it corrected, and it ended up pushing a little higher than that, just like it pushed a little lower over here. So anyway, I like the short. I just don't see any reason to go long in there. But then it starts correcting. Of course, you got to draw your trend line there and drag it up, and of course that's where we turn down. And it tries to go a little higher. I do like the long here because this is a new swing low. It's lower than that one, and look at that move up, pull back. First, or actually new low, first entry short, pull back, second entry short, it fails and turns up. And this one was just good enough for a scalp, and then it corrects. And you can kind of tell we're in a little trading range. You get a chance to buy here. We traded up into this. We're probably going to go out the high side if we succeed. There's enough room to get out here. So I like this one. It's a second entry. Pull back first entry, pull back second entry. It's a double, triple test of this area right in here. Notice that low, and we tested it twice more. Another reason to like that one for a long. And then we get a little breakout up here, and I was really looking for prices to get to the other side, but notice that new low. There's actually a failed second entry short there, but you can't go long there yet into that, right into that resistance. But then it turns into a breakout pullback long, and now you got a chance. And notice how it broke lower than those last couple of lows, and then reverses. It broke lower and reversed and went right out the top. I like just having a stop there. But when this bar closed dead on its top, you could have put a stop right there. And look at it go. And then it pulls back, and it tests the previous resistance. It acts as support again. And if you're looking at the bigger picture, there's two legs up. So this is like a failed second. Notice that low, first entry, pull back second entry on a bigger picture. So there were some different reasons that I like that one to the long side. And then it goes higher, pulls back first entry, pulls back. There's a second entry long right there. This one would make you a little nervous because it kind of got hung up, and you might have gotten shaken out of that one. And if you did, that's okay. But it's also, notice this new low. It looks, well, actually this is not a new low, so let me back up there. But it still looks like I'm counting this. Let me explain this. Since this was acting as resistance and now it acting as support, it's like a new start right there. And so first entry pullback, there's a second entry, it fails. So I like going long there. Plus it's a second entry off the top. But again, it gets kind of hung up in here. And so you might have gotten shaken out of that one. I think you're better off just to hang on and keep your stop where it goes down here and see what happens, and you would have survived. But at the very least, just take a tick or two or whatever it would have given you and wait, and then you finally get another chance to enter right there. And notice how you get that little double trap again, and you get a bullish bar, and then it backs up a little bit. Those are lower highs, and then it breaks higher. And that's a bullish bar. So you know we're probably going to push on higher. We tested that EMA too many times. You got a low there. You got actually got a low there and there, and so that's like a double test of that area, and off it goes. And I don't think you get another chance to really enter here until uh, there's actually, it looks like it's going to be a long trap. But when you got a market like this, don't counter trend trade. Even with this overshoot, don't counter trend trade because we may just be stuck in the upper half. And guess what? It bounces right off the midline. But notice, more importantly, you've got all those matching lows and that little failed break lower again. What looks like a long trap is really a short trap because people are going to try to pick the tops, and and you never can pick them. And this thing's closed almost on its very high. It's still trending higher when it closes, and that got you into the 2 o'clock hour. So I didn't mark anything after that. But we've seen this pattern over and over and over lately, and it just works over and over and over. So um, continue to keep your eye out on that. And now we've got another. I believe this is another new record high here. We went right through we're 7 points higher above the 2100 level that we've been looking for and expecting. So pretty good trading day. It was a little questionable from right in here, but notice that you just sit and be patient. In a minute, it'll all work out. And yeah, it's hard to watch that big move go without you, but that's what you got to do sometimes. And if you were really brave, you might have entered right there. But I think you're asking for trouble because 9 times out of 10 it ticks higher and turns back down. And this is the one time it didn't. So anyway, that's what I saw today. This was a great trend up. And even though this looks, all these little small bars that are just barely, moving higher, they looks congestive like looking, but notice how every bar is making a new high and a new low almost, or at least a new high. And there are a lot of dojis. That's still a strong market. And when you learn to spot that, because it really started right about in here, and we worked higher the whole way, and we were into a little correction phase here, but we were still working higher, making higher lows at the close. So my guess is if the market was still open, we'd still be pushing higher. Anyway, that's it for today. I'm not going to waste any more time. I don't see anything else in here really. It's a good learning opportunity. Just remember when you see this list of when you see a lot of little bars that look like dojis just continuing going higher and higher and higher, that's a strong market, even though it doesn't really look like it. So but that's it for today. I'm going to start my weekend. We'll be back again to do it Monday. This is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.